This is another of my animation basics for all you animators out there. This is the second of a series of lessons on simple animation techniques using the Adobe suite. We'll be looking at how you can easily animate in Photoshop CC and Animate CC. The second lesson is called Parallax Scrolling. In this lesson you will learn to create a short looping parallax scrolling sequence using the Adobe Animate CC and the principle of tweening in animation. First, open up Adobe Animate CC.
Right, so if we go into full HD, like we did before, okay, you remember this from the last project, if you've managed to do that, and there we are, we've got our stage there. What we're going to do today is to do parallax scrolling, okay? So the first thing to do is we're going to do various layers on this first frame with the different sections that we are going to use. Okay, so we're going to start with layer 1. I'm going to name that sky. Okay, and I'm going to choose an appropriate sort of sky colour, just a background sky colour, something like that perhaps. And I'm going to use this tool, which you're probably not familiar with. It's a kind of shape tool. You can see I can just kind of fill it there, and that's the stage inside. You can see the black line to denote the stage. So we just need the sky on the back, and we need to then add a new layer. So if I go to insert timeline layer, I can do it from there. I'll show you the other way in a moment when we do the next layer. So this layer I'm going to call clouds. Okay, and it's a different layer now, so we're going to be drawing on that, and we want to draw in some clouds. So I'm going to choose a nice white colour for the clouds. I might put some grey in later, I'm not sure, but we'll just do this quickly. So what I'm going to do now is paint, so I need to use the paint tool. Okay, and you can see now the size of it. I can alter it a little bit perhaps, make it a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to paint in some clouds. Now you'll see that I'm going to paint over here and over here. That's because we're going to scroll these clouds across the scene. Okay, so I'm just going to create some little fluffy clouds there. There's one, there's another one. You can make them all sorts of different shapes and sizes, it doesn't matter really. You can see I've kind of got a whole clump of cloud here. It's up to you, you create your own clouds, do it in your own style, your own manner, how much you want to do. I could also go into maybe a more grey colour and perhaps make that smaller and kind of, you know, put a bit of 3D-ness to it, to the cloud there, kind of little bits of stuff on there, just kind of to kind of give it a sort of 3D thing. Up to you. I'm just rushing this really for the tutorial purposes, but you could do a little bit more. So that's the clouds. You see we've now got a clouds layer. And we're now going to put a new layer on. This time we're going to do it this way. We're going to go to that little plus there and create a new layer, you can see. And we're going to call this one hills. So we're going to put some hills in now. So this time, oops, I'll do that. This time we've got a different layer. We're going to put some hills in here. Okay, stretching over here. So we need a kind of dark greeny colour here, and I'm going to paint in some hills. You can be as crazy as you want. You can make mountains if you want, or other things. You can see I'm going right off the page, and like when we did the frame by frame animation, if you want to flood fill, you can just kind of drag it down like this below the bottom level and sort of shore it up there. That means then I can go to my paint tool and flood fill that. Now I've got a nice kind of hill side there. I'm going to actually move that up, so because I'm on that layer, I'm just going to drag it up a little bit, I think, there, like that, because we need some more room for bits in here. So, yet again, another layer. This time I'm going to put some river or water. We're going to have a boat going along the water, so a nice kind of dark watery colour. I think I'll start with that first of all. And I'm going to kind of put in just gentle waves like this. You can see I'm kind of just putting in a few waves like that. And yet again, like we did with the hills, drawing it up at the bottom, like so. Flood fill, boing. Now we've got some water there, a bit wobbly. I might just erase little bits of that. So I'm going into that and just kind of erasing. You can see there how I can erase little bits just to kind of have it the way I'm looking at it. I'm not doing it very detailed. So that's our water one. We'll call that water one. Okay, and then we're going to go to a new layer, and this one we'll call water 2. And I'm going to choose a lighter shade of this. Okay, so I want a lighter shade of that one. So if I go into that, I can look at a different shade, maybe slightly lighter there. Okay, and this one I'm just gonna, oops, I've still got my rubber on. Bad news. Make sure I've got my paintbrush on. And this one here, I'm going to just kind of make a wobbly sort of watery line. Oops, along here, like that, at the same length, and pull that down to the bottom there. And yet again, I'm going to be flood filling that. There we go. So we now have 2 layers of water, and we're going to have a little boat go by. So we need one last layer, and this layer we call boat. So on this layer we're going to draw a boat. So we need a little boat that's going to sit in the water. So we need to do some creative painting now. So you can start with black. I'm going to start with a small black shapes and kind of, oh, that's a bit too tiny I think. A little bigger. That's a bit too big. So my yacht experience isn't much, but I'm sure some of you have got been out on sailing boats and so on, but this is my little crap boat. Obviously I want you to try and draw these as beautifully as you can. I'm going to and I'm going to put in a little cabin there, a bit in front, sail in there like that. Oh, put the flag that way round. Wrong way round. Put the flag the other way. And I'm going to put a boom in. A sail. God, this is a rubbish boat, isn't it? There we go. So there's our sail. And we're going to colour some of this in, just make sure that you've got all the, that you've joined up all the lines. And you can go in and rub out the bits that you don't like. And I'm going to flood fill with a kind of browny colour, I think. There we go, nice sort of brown. Just fill in those, and I'm going to put kind of light green cabin, and maybe a light yellow for the same. Should we have a red flag? Okay, I'm going to go back into the black again, just so I can draw some sort of carving on the boat and some windows over the top, stuff like that. Up to you, you try and make your boat look as cool or as weird as you want. Okay, so I've got these bits in. You can see my little boat. I'll just join that up so it looks easy. Right, so we've now got the boat here, but obviously he's sort of sitting on top of the water. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that layer and drag it between water 1 and 2. Okay, and then if you click off, you can see the boat now sits quite properly in the water. Okay, so now we've got to decide which way our boat is moving, okay, and which way the wind is going. So the wind is blowing this way, it's pushing the boat that way, okay. So we're going to want him to come from this side to this side. You could do it from that side to that side, it doesn't matter which way you do it. Okay, so we're going to start with the boat. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go to, I think, about frame 60. Alright, so if you click and hold Control, and you can see that highlights frame 60, and then if you right click, you can go into Insert Keyframe. Now we inserted blank keyframes before, but this time we're inserting keyframes, and there you can see that you've got an unmoving piece of work. So we're going to go to the boat first. We want to make the boat move from here to here across our scene. So that's what parallax scrolling is about. So I'm going to start with the boat doing that first of all, and then we'll get the clouds moving. So you can see I'm on the first frame, okay, there on the boat, and it's highlighted, so I can drag it off screen so nothing is visible. Okay, and then we go to frame, and you can see he's gone pop back, so we're going to move him off screen again there. Now you can see if I move this, it just jumps. Can you see? But if I go to the first frame in the sequence and I click on that, and I insert create a classic tween, right, it will come up like this. So it says the selected frame span cannot be tweened. You must convert the frame content to a symbol in order to tween. Do you want to convert and create a tween? Yes. So you go OK. So now we have our moving boat. You can see that moves across there like that. I think we've lost one of our waters. Oh, there's water. We haven't got the other water, so I just need to pop in there and right click and insert keyframe. So you can see the water there. So now the boat kind of travels across the screen. Very nice. That's what we wanted it to do. We're also going to animate the clouds. So if the wind is going this way, so will the clouds. So doing the same kind of thing, we click on the first frame. I'm going to drag these clouds to sort of there, and then go to the end sequence and drag them to there. Okay, so now we go back into the first frame on clouds, and we go Insert, Create Classic Tween. It will then ask us to create a symbol. I'll show you in a minute on the next one how you can create symbols, because that will be useful when you're doing sprite work. So now you can see you've got that image there. You can then play that and you can see clouds move. Maybe they're moving about the same sort of pace, so I might change their position a little bit. So, and have a look at that at the end. See if it moves. Maybe a little bit more. The final frame, move that over here a little bit. Now, the boats go a bit faster than the clouds. I think the clouds shouldn't move so fast, so I'm going to even move them like that. So that's better. So we've now got our two tweens. We just want to make the water move, and we're going to go back to our boat. So first of all, I'm going to go into the water. You can see there, we'll go on to water 2, which is the up overlay. You can see it's all dotty now when I've selected it. And what I want to do is I want to make that into a tween. So I could, if I wanted to, go to convert, insert classic tween, and it would then automatically do it for me. But if I want to kind of change it into a tween, I can modify it and convert to symbol. If this comes up, make sure you're on graphic, not film. Right, you can call it a name and just go OK. You can see now that our bit of water has changed from dotty to having this blue line around it. That means it's now a symbol that can be used in moving animation. So what I'm going to do with this is a bit different. So I'm going to kind of seesaw together these bits of water. So I'm going to start from sort of there, and I'm going to end there. But I'm also going to put in a keyframe in the middle at 30. So I click on 30 and I right click and insert keyframe. Now at that point I can move things around, but I'm going to put a few more in. I'm going to go to 15 and I'm going to insert keyframe there, and I'm going to go to 45 and add a keyframe there. See, now we've got that, nothing's changing, so I'm going to click on that, and if we just check where it's come from, it's there. So I'm going to move that a little bit that way, and then I'm going to leave it there, and then go to there, and move it a little bit that way. But now if you watch that, you can see the sort of water flashing back and forth. I think it's probably better if we did some in the middle as well. So I'm going to add some further keyframes, sort of halfway. Doesn't matter where, it makes it look more. Oops, cut frames. Undo cut frames. Press the wrong one. Insert keyframe, and I'll put one in there. Insert keyframe, and one probably about there. Insert keyframe. So now I'm going to have to go back on these and move them around. You can see I'm just shifting them slightly. Click on it, move it a bit. And then now you can see it. Oops, if we go back to the beginning. You can see it kind of flows, doesn't it? You've got to do the same thing on water 1 as well. So click on that, and if you want to modify, convert to symbol, make sure it's a graphic, OK. Right now you've got the same thing. Okay, you can go in and kind of put in, and it might be good to put them in slightly different spacings. Insert keyframe, just kind of randomly. They don't sort of happen at the same time, otherwise it looks kind of as though you just sort of followed an OCD type pattern. Okay, so I'm going to go into that. You see the first one, and then the second one, I'm going to move it like that. And the third one, it goes back. The fourth one, I'm going to move it like that. fifth one goes back, and then that one, I'm going to move it. Oops. I'm going to move, make sure I'm on the right frame, and move that like that. So now if we go back to the beginning, we can see the water kind of flows in a shitty way. Alright. The hills will stay the same, they're not going to move, so that's all we need there. I'm going to go back into the boat now, and for the final bit of this, we're going to make the boat woggle. Okay, at the moment, just got sliding across, and we want it to kind of look realistic. So I'm going to watch my animation, and from probably about there, I might just stop there, and I'm going to go into boat, and I've already put in the classic tween, but I'm going to right click and insert keyframe. You can see the arrow stops there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify. So I'm going to transform, and then you can go rotate and skew, right? Or rotate and scale. So you can do this here, so you can rotate it, I don't know, 5 degrees, like that, and then I'm going to add another keyframe there, insert keyframe, and I'm going to, and I can, if I want to, click this, you can see there that little tool, and you can then rotate it. Now you can see there's a little axis there, and it's useful when you're doing this to put the axis at the base of where the rotation should happen. So now if I rotate that like that a little bit, I'm just going to move it down so it sits in the water. Maybe that's a bit too much. Like that. You can see this one dips a bit there. So I'm going to add another keyframe in there. Put that down there. And drag it up. I'm just going to check on that one. That's right, that needs to be down there. That's the sort of centre of gravity that everything works with. So you can see now it kind of bobs along as we go along. That's brilliant. Okay, so I'm just going to add another couple of frames in here, and then we're finished. So just kind of take that, move it down slightly, and basically tweening means between. So the computer makes a kind of judgment about where everything should be when in between two key frames, if you see what I mean. So insert a keyframe, drag that down a little bit more, rotate in, and you can see he's sort of floating above there, so I'm going to just add another keyframe there, and put him down. So let's have a look at that. So there's my boat. That's what you've got to do. I want you to try and achieve that, something like that. I know it's a bit scrappy, my version, but I'm sure you can spend a bit more time jazzing some of the sea and boats up and stuff like that. But I just want a little short sequence like that. Okay. Then go to export, all right, and export video media. You can make it an animated GIF, as I've said before, and I'll show you some of that later on. So go video media. Export media. So I'm going to export media. I'm going to call it here. I'm going to give it a name boat. Okay, you've got all frames, H.264. You're on its scene one. You can, that's all it is, just the scene, and then export. And then you should find Media Encoder opens up. You need to download this if you haven't got it as part of your Adobe suite, so you will need it for exporting. You wait for it to load. You can see here, there it is, boat, and it's processing it. There we go, that's done, and it should now be on my desktop. for me to watch and upload to my Wix, etc. Alright, well done everyone, that's cool, another one done. That'll be excellent. Here is my final one. So I'm just going to go to QuickTime Player and I'm going to loop it. I want to see it over and over again. Enter full screen and we'll just play. You can see it's a bit jumpy at the beginning, but we get the idea of how the process works. All right. That's a quick boat. You can make it much slower if you want to by extending the frames. Okay. But that's the principle of it, and that's called parallax scrolling, and that means that that the background is scrolling along behind, and you'll often see that in cartoons and stuff. Okay, thank you very much. Take care, guys. Talk soon.